Warning, this video is only for 14 and up, and if you're under, please leave this video because I will not be accused of something I don't want to be accused of. Please, if you're under, leave the video. Stories go through the air. You can listen and you cannot. But stories are here to help. Understand what is right and what is wrong. But sometimes stories can do the opposite. There's no right or wrong. You have to form your own opinion. But that is not what you're here for. You're here to listen to this silly little god of this channel. Listens to his mind going on about his stories, about the different worlds where he's traveling to, and where he can make some small different in a timeline. Welcome to the Blue Mask What If channel. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys will enjoy this video and let's begin. Hello everyone, this is Blue Mask and welcome back to my channel. Just to inform you, no, this is not the week's video. I just want to make a probably two videos maybe every week. It will not be a permanent promise, just to make sure. When I feel like it, I will probably post a second video in the week. But the permanent weekly video is on the weekend. So I just want to make that sure that you guys understand that. And the next video in this week is a voting video. So I want you guys to go on to my channel and go and vote on the videos I can make. One being another version of Deku owning a Freddy Fazbear, or the second part of what if Deku was a monster hunter. I've posted a lot of Deku videos. Maybe next week will be Danmachi again. Anyways, hope you guys will enjoy this video, and let's begin this story. We see 2 feet walking over a grassy kind of path walking up to a big house. We see these 2 people standing in front of the door of this huge mansion, and we see it's Izuku and Zelda. Are you sure this is it? Yes, I asked Izumi more question of where the mansion was exactly. This one it is? Yeah, but it looks new. I know it's new and everything else, but it's an abandoned mansion with that Triforce logo on it. We need to figure out what it is. Yeah, you're right about that. Izuku looked around the, kind of patio area of the mansion when Zelda was speaking about where and how to get into the house, when Izuku saw something he couldn't resist doing. Well, there's also another option with us breaking in with a... Before she could continue, she hears a kind of noise what was that? Like a... Izuku? Yes, Zelda? Did you just destroy a pot? She turned around to see Izuku with the Master Sword just where a pot was destroyed. Izuku, I don't know why I do this, it's just funny. Why? I don't know, don't blame me, maybe it's the hero spirits. Maybe it's because we need to break pots. Oh, you... Izuku? Yeah? What's that? Zelda points to where Izuku broke the pot and he looks down. Oh, it's a hidden key. Well, that's convenient. Maybe he was scared that people would break in one day and hid a key where no one else could come in. But people will break it, won't they? Zelda, this is Japan. No one would break anything. You're right. But you had to break a pot. It's a thing I do and I can't stop it, okay? Izuku walks over with the key he took from the broken pot and, well, turned the key around to them walking into the house and see. This isn't right. You can tell me that again. When they walk in, they saw the mansion furnished with, well, 2 pathways leaving 2 ways with chairs around and some pictures on the wall that looks new. But that's the point. It's not supposed to be new. Izuku walks around the room and checks out the few things. There are some few pillars around, but they look like they're in pristine condition. But the outside of the mansion looks broken down a little bit on the outside, but it still looks fine. But this looks like a well-kept house. Izuku didn't know what was going on, and Zelda didn't either. I have a bad feeling about this. I do too. Do you have a weapon on you? Do I have a weapon on me? Of course I do have a weapon on me. Zelda went to a weird looking belt that looks like Sonai technology, well, combined with some Sheikah technology. When she clasped the belt so it can, well, take it off Zelda put it in front of her and just threw it in the air. The item immediately just sprung up like it looks like the high-powered bow, by the way, from Tears of the Kingdom, the Sonai one, with, imagine a little bit of blue instead of green light, instead of green electricity going through it. It's more like blue light that's powered by Sheikah technology. Zelda grabbed it and Izuku handed over his quiver he took with him. Yeah, Zelda has a bow and she's a very fucking good archer. Zelda pulled out an arrow and, well, put it on her string. I'll be in the back, you'll be in the front. Get your shield ready. Got it. Izuku pulled out his shield and he started to walk over to a door on the right side of him. Opening it up, and he looks around into the room and saw this is a library. Izuku and Zelda walked inside to the library and walked around through the... There were some on the side, but it looks like a kind of a maze kind of area. When Izuku walked into the room, he looked around to spot any monsters, but he didn't. When he walked forward and down one of the bookshelves, he heard, well, other footsteps than him and Zelda. We're not alone. I can hear that. Izuku walked forward towards towards the nearest hole, well, down another pathway, down this kind of massive library. and he saw that there was another platform. On top of the bookshelves, there was another platform where he sees a goblin. It's the monsters from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, by the way. The red pig-looking things. The bokoblin saw, Izuku and drew out an arrow he had inside of his bow. The moblin shot at him, but he blocked it when Zelda came in front of him and shot an arrow into the, monster's head, killing it instantly. Yep, I knew it. We're dealing with a person that deals with monsters. Definitely fucking dealing with someone with monsters. I don't think I will anyways, Izuku and Zelda walks. Okay, when they walk into the library, I will just describe. There's a long hallway down to the right and a short corner to the left, where it goes down, forward. When you go to the left, you go there. There's two pathway downs to the right. One that's at the end where a bookshelf is, but it's not at the end of the room. It just cuts it off where another bookshelf goes. There is another pathway where Zelda and Link went down. That's like two bookshelves away from the end. There's also all the bookshelf has imagine a huge bookshelf that's wood and everything else, and double that upwards. There's two bookshelves on each other with some places where platforms are. Izuku and Zelda went down to the right side and into the first ever hallway. There was a platform with a goblin on it, and they walked past that, grabbing the monster's, horn, and put it into Izuku's bag. Walking down this hallway, there was no entrance. Before the moblin was standing on it, if you can imagine, two bookshelves down the hall, then the platform, then one more, then it splits apart into right and left going to the side. When Izuku looks down, to the left, he saw nothing. When he turned to the right, he saw a bokoblin just rushing down towards him. He backed off from the monster that run past him, and when he did, it tried to stop, but Izuku always was right away there and just stabbed through its head, killing it. When Zelda and Izuku looks right and left, he saw that the left corner had nothing. It was just blocked with a actual chest there. Oh, chest! Izuku walks over and kicked it with his foot, opened the chest and picking up what's inside. It's a broken book? It's a broken painting? Izuku had the left bottom corner of a painting he had. It's kind of like a round painting that looks like it's been cut into 3 pieces. Okay. Izuku puts it in his magic bag to keep it safe for now. After turning around to Zelda that looks down the right corridor the hallway with the books, Izuku sees three lanes of bookshelf. From where the bookshelf stopped from the hallway they came from that went right and left, there was one bookshelf, hallway, one bookshelf, hallway, one bookshelf, hallway. Izuku pulled out his bow and grabbed around two arrows from Izuku's quiver on Zelda's back. You will take the first one, I will take the two last. Got it. Zelda walked over to the hallway and looked down it to see, one bokoblin just standing in front with a electric kind of blade. Izuku looks down the second hallway and spotted nothing. He looked up to the second kind of where on the second bookshelf and saw a bokoblin hiding a chest. He looks down the last one and saw it was a keys. It was just a normal keys that will be annoying, so he shot it in the eye, killing it. Grabbing the eye, he puts it on the arrow with the fusion in Tears of the Kingdom, and put it the arrow fused with a key's eyes and pointed it at the bokoblin, and just shot it, headshotting it, killing it instantly. Walking over to Zelda's one, he sees that he has already shot the bokoblin in the head as well, and was holding the electrifying sword. It looks like a pipe with it looks like a sword handle with a kind of club blade with, instead of it being a blade, a straight blade, it looks like pipes with 4 sides on it, with electricity going on the sides but not the top and the bottom. It had this. Maybe it's a key or something? I don't know, but I think I'm gonna keep on to it. Yeah, do that. Zelda puts it in her own bag and puts it in her bag and walks out with Izuku, walking over to the platform where the bokoblin was and saw the chest and used his grapple arm to grapple onto the chest and just pulling it backwards and down towards him. It landed in front of him and Izuku opened it up to it's a key. What's it do? I don't know. Izuku saw a kind of string with a note on it called cabinet key. Okay. Putting it in its pocket, both of them walked backwards towards the doorway. And this time they went to the left side. When they went down to the left, they looked down the hallway, where the bookshelf turns to the left at the wall. They looked down and saw no monster and walked towards it and saw that they were at the next wall, the actual wall of the room, and looked down to see a open room with a table and some few books lying around. Okay. Izuku walks around to look at it and saw a cabinet, that's like the wide of a bookshelf and had a keyhole. He looked at the key he brought with him, taking out of his pocket, and walked over and opening it to see some more books with doctor's materials and everything else, limb replacements and blood to Hylian. If the Hylian races with human blood are mixed together, what would happen? Kind of theories and everything else in this one. But he saw a kind of paper that looks like a... I think I found a map. You did? Zelda walked over and Izuku picked out the paper and showed it to Zelda. And now Izuku and Zelda saw what it was. Alright, so this, you can see on the top of the screen where the title card used to be right now. I will have that image. That is the mansion. You can see the first floor, the second floor, and the basement. I thought I will make this kind of mansion a kind of first dungeon on the surface for Izuku and Zelda, because they have explored other temples and dungeons in the depths. Sorry about that, I just had to fix something. Yeah, so that's the map that you can see on the top. They have like I said, they have explored the dungeons in the depths, like the water temple, the wind temple, the lightning temple, and the fire temple. That had the Rito Sora temple, the Garuda temple, and the Goron temple. They have explored them and the temple in the castle temple under the castle and everything else. But they were kind of beginner dungeon for them. They were not extremely violent, but they could understand the dungeon type. But when they looked at this map and see the first floor, the second floor, and the basement, on top of it was the Mirror Mansion? What's Mirror Mansion? Mirror Mansion. I don't know. Both Link and Zelda grabbed the map and looked around more to see it. This room was more about, place was more about medical procedures and everything else. About human biology, Hylian, Goron, Garuda, and everything else about it. So this is a medical house? It's weird. I know. We should probably get out of here. There's nothing more in here. You're right. Izuku walked out with Zelda into the big room again. That's on the first floor in the middle room. That you can see, the big middle room. After that, they walked over to the right side. Walked to the right again to that door because it was the closest. They saw a hallway full of goblins and, keys flying around. Shoot! Izuku took out the Hylian shield and the Master Sword for this, to protect him and Zelda with close range, with Zelda taking out a few keys with a bow and some bokoblins. Let's say 7 bokoblins and 9 keys was in this room. And both of them did really good with teamwork taking down the monsters. This was weird, right? Definitely fucking weird. I mean, does monsters even spawn here? And how did they come here? In this mansion specifically? I don't know, Zelda. But the Triforce symbol is glowing, is painted red on the top. In the myths, a Goron man or a Garuda man named by Ganondorf used to be, well, evil. You know that, right? Yeah, some legends told about that. But that man was born like 91 years ago. He died like 20 years ago before we even were born. But he was described as a kind man. Yeah, I know. But if this wasn't his mansion and it was described as kind, how is this here? Izuku didn't know anything about this mansion, and it didn't make sense. Because what Izumi told him, this house has been here for, I don't know, 170 years. What they saw of old pictures of the mansion, the Triforce symbol wasn't there in the beginning of the mansion's lifespan. It only appeared around 19 years ago. What it was told, it just appeared and no one knew why. Alright, let's check on the right side. Izuku walked over to the door down the right corridor and tried to open it, but it didn't work. What? Izuku tried to shake it again, but couldn't open it. Damn it, must be locked from the inside. Well, at least is not that mad. Yeah, you could say that. Izuku and Zelda walks down the corridor and walk to the middle of the hallway, seeing something on the right and something in front of them. They walked over to the door in front of them and walked into that hallway. Not spotting two bokoblins that Izuku cuts one of the heads off, and Zelda, well, shot at the next stage being a blue bokoblin being there. And Izuku stabbing, well, after Zelda hit it, it tries to stand up, but Izuku cuts its arm off and Zelda hit it in his head again, killing it. Izuku walked over to the left side of the room and looked into the door on the, well, left side again, but it led into the room where they came from. The big room, left room. You can see what I'm talking about. When Izuku said that, they both walked over to the, well, stairways up to the second floor. Walking up it, they felt weird. This was weird. After walking up, they walked into a corridor filled with, well, no enemies in this one. Alright, left, right or left? Right didn't do us that bad. Yeah. They walked over to the right corridor and walked inside of it. But that was a mistake, with 11 bokoblin, 3 of them being blue ones, and 2 keys with 1 electric one, and 2 bokoblin holding sharp swords instead of dull swords. Shit, this was wrong. Izuku pulls out, well, he has his grappled hand, his spear hand, that was from the water temple. He got the wrecking ball from the Gorons. He got the elemental cannon from the, well, lightning temple. He got the bow arm from the Rito. Right, it's Rito temple in the sky. Mm, there's nothing more, right? Because he got 5 hands. Izuku, well, Izuku put his shield on his back and put his the master sword on the left side. Propping the arms up, he switched it out with his elemental cannon. I need an ice crystal. Zelda, went into a magic bag and pulled out an ice crystal, but beforehand, she shot 3 goblins with 3 arrows in the body of them, knocking them back. Zelda immediately turned to Izuku that had his, right arm on the back. Zelda slapping the crystal inside of the cannon, elemental cannon, locking it, and Izuku turned. Zelda went down to the ground, kneeling down to the ground, with Izuku standing above her, with shooting 2 shots of the ice one towards the right side of the corridor, and shooting 3 shots. Sorry about that. He shot 3 shots of ice wind down the left side of the hallway. When that done, Izuku immediately rushed, to the right, and Zelda shot the goblins and keys in, with her arrows on the left. Izuku, there was, like I said, 11 goblins. There was 5 on the right, 6 on the left, with 13 keys, with 7 of them being on the... No, around... Nine of them on the right side and 5 being on the left. Izuku just cut down the goblins in front of him that was still in the ice and cutting down the keys that was on the ground. Zelda backed up towards the right side of the corridor, shooting down the goblins that was there, knocking the 3 blue ones out of the ice, not hurting them that much. But when Izuku turned around and put his right arm in front of Zelda and just blasting another shot of ice wind down the corridor, hitting the 2 goblins, killing it with the ice. Izuku walks over to 2 chests that's on the left side of the room, walks down it and opens it up with that may be useful. Izuku pulled out it was a weird kind of arrow, that's a label that was on it called the long shot arrow. Boost the arrow's length with these arrows. It will travel fast and long and hit hard when it's close and normal when it's long. New arrows types. But I've never heard of them. No, scratch that. When Izuku pulled out the arrows instead, it was actually lightning arrows. 5 lightning arrows. Are you serious? Yeah. Izuku handed the lightning arrows over to Zelda and said, probably keep them safe if they're here. Zelda agreed with it and put them, away from now. Izuku walked over to the right. He took one on the right and he walked over to the left and opened it up to find I found a ruby that's worth 10 of them. Oh, that's useful. Yeah. He puts it in his, purse and, in his upgraded Pura pad and put it away. After coming out of the long ass hallway, they were just fighting like a lot of monsters, picking up their, monster parts. They walked down the corridor to the left side and walked into a, smaller hallway going to the left and right. Left. They walked over to the left side of the room and walked into the room. Walked to the left side of the hallway, seeing is that a chandelier or the big ass fucking candle lights that's in most of the rich people houses that's like that. Why are they hanging it up there? Izuku turned to look at the right, down the right corridor and saw, okay, there's one more down there. Huh. Weird. Definitely weird. They walked into the big ass room and saw, there was a lot of boxes in here that looks like more like platforms. But both Izuku and Silda saw, are these wires going to the door? Silda picked up one of the wires and looked at it. Walking out to the hallway and saw it was actually going under the floorboards. And Izuku and Silda said, alright, we need to check the right side. Yep. They walked down it and walked over to a, down the right corridor, down the hallway, and they walked, turned to the right again into a room where they see cables going into it. When they open up the door, they see two blue bokoblins jumping at them. Izuku uses the last shot of the ice crystal and just frees the monsters. After that, he cuts their heads off with the Master Sword, making them disappear. After doing that, they checked out the room with... Are those 5 lights above the door? Yep, I believe so. Well, that's interesting. Izuku walks over to it and check it out. Well, it seemed like we can't break through the door. Why is that? It looks like normal wood, doesn't it? Zelda. Izuku points at the door again, and she walks over to where Izuku was standing in front of it, looking at it closely. Oh, it's a metal door. Yup, looks like a wooden door, but it's metal. What do you think? Something definitely fucking wrong here. Should we inform Aizawa what we actually were doing? Wait, didn't you explain that we're going to abandoned mansion with the Triforce on it? No. I said we were just going out for a walk. Zelda, stop picking up my bad habits of lying to shit and giggles. I mean... Yeah, okay. You will send a text explaining what we actually were doing. Like I wanted to. Fine. After that, both of them walked out of the room with Zelda sending a text to Aizawa apologizing, saying that Izuku thought they wanted to keep this a secret, but they are right now exploring a abandoned mansion with the Triforce logo on it. Zelda explained and sent their location, and Aizawa told them to stay there near the building. He's coming with All Might and Isuku's father and stepmother, actually. He's bringing All Might and your dad and Abosa. Fuck, we're gonna get it so much scolding. Well, at least we're gonna, explore this one. After walked into the room again, the big ass room where a lot of boxes are. They walked into the room when a bokoblin, a red one, rushes over to them, but Isuku cuts it down with his sword. Zelda watching 5 cables going different ways, 2 in front, 2 going straight in front of them, 1 is going up to one of the boxes that was blocking their view of where it was. One of them was actually on the right side of them, and one of them was on, what she could see, hidden by some boxes. Okay. Zelda walked over to the kind of console that was there, and saw it needed to be poked by, something. Zelda pulled out one of the electric arrows and hit it into it, making it shock and make electricity go through the cable that was clearly seen. Well, good job, Zelda. Thank you. After that, Isuku walked with... It was on the right side of the door actually, but it didn't know what it actually was when they walked in first. So now that Zelda plugged the electricity arrow into it, it lighted up and... Sorry if you heard me hitting the mic. It rushes back towards the doorway. Isuku walks over to one of the cable that was going up on top of the boxes that was there. Zelda walked behind him when he jumped up and helped her up to the boxes. Zelda and Isuku saw, 5 pieces in front of them protecting the the item with... That's a metal block. Yep. No, that's a metal box blocking the thing we need to shock with the shock arrow. Yep. Isuku, cuts down the keys with the Master Sword, but asks Zelda to press the button so he can change the arm. When she did, Isuku picked out the Wrecking Ball arm that he had, and, after taking down the last keys with his sword, he was fighting when Zelda pressed the button, by the way, and changing it to the Wrecking Ball arm. When that was done, Isuku, pulled back his arm and just threw it, forward, where the chain just releases it and just hit the box away. After that, Isuku, pulls it back and the arm will settle in, but it kind of throws Isuku a little back. Still fucking heavy. Yeah, it's kind of heavy. After that, Zelda shoot the electricity arrow into one of them. Walking out of the little box corner. Okay, the door was... When you walk into the door, like I said, the first one was on the right side where they could understand it. There was kind of a box that led up to a platform with boxes that had a room that they couldn't see what was in, but a cable led into it. There is some more boxes on its. Okay, the box fort is on the top right corner of the mini map. You can see. You can imagine how it looks inside. I don't really mind. They walk into that. When they walk over to the box fort was. There's no roof. By the way, there was no roof or anything. There were just boxes standing in front of them that you couldn't see. There were some keys inside of that area that he took down, and they were walking out from the wall that's on the right, and they walk out of the box. Walks towards the left and saw, two bokoblins there standing in front of a sort of weird looking thing that was holding where they had to shoot the next arrow on top on the wall that's way above that Zelda couldn't shoot when there were something blocking it, like a box that Isugu couldn't reach. Isugu rushed in front of Zelda and swung his master sword into one of the bokoblins, but one of them attacked with Isugu blocking with his, the wrecking ball arm. After monster was stunned, Isugu just pulled back the arm and just punched it. Just punched the bokoblin with the wrecking ball instead of releasing it. Just snapping the head back of the bokoblin with Zelda shooting an arrow and just hitting it in the head and just making it poof. Zelda looked at the little thing and said, "It looks like the weapons that the monsters had. Well, that one had. That special one." Zelda pulled it out and pushed it in like a key and it started to power up this system that went up to the box that just removed itself, so Zelda could shoot an arrow up on top of it. It was on the right side, left corner of the room, bottom, that was split apart by a wall that was there. When they walked out of that room and walked over to the different side of the wall, they see one of them on the very top. When you walked into where the wall it was like a two-way door. A wall in the middle, then on the left side, there is a right door to the left side of the room that was there. It's an open one, but this one had a door on the left side. The room on the right, left, top side that had a door on the left that Isugu walked in to see. Okay. This one was more. There was no monster, but the target was moving. How the hell do we do this? I'm not gonna shoot. I'm not that good. Seeing how it was kind of clicking around as fast as it can and turning as well, Isugu switched towards his grapple arm instead, putting his master sword in its sheath on his back. He looked at the patterns and saw, because it was moving fast, it was kind of hard to see because it was kind of dark in the room as well. It was not very light up, But Isuko saw a handle on the things that was turning, well, going from... It was on the roof of the pattern on the roof. It was the Triforce as well. There's 5 arrows. There's already used 1, 2, 3. There was 2 of them that was going from the... just going around this pattern that looks like the Triforce. When Isuku saw this, he got ready to grapple to one of them. He looks at it and saw one of them going towards the bottom line of the Triforce, and into the middle of it that has 4 paths. Isuku saw that when it goes to one of those, it kind of stops for 2 seconds and then move to one of the sides, or even could just go back. So when it went to that and stopped, Isuku immediately just grappled out with his grapple arm and just grappled on to it. Got it! Zelda! Isuku saw that Zelda moved ahead and went to in front of him and turned around towards the target that was... It was not looking at Isuku, the target was in front, looking away from him. So Zelda moved in front and just shot her shot, hitting it. Great job! When Isuku did that, he let go and the target just was still. After that, the other one just started to speed up more. And after some, 5 tries of trying to grab it, it went to the right side of the pathways towards Courage. I believe that corner is that... No, I believe that was Wisdom side. It went to the Wisdom side for the Triforce pattern. Stopped there for a second, and Isuku had already thrown it when it saw where it was going. Grappling onto it, but this time it just went down toward it. The pattern actually looked at Isuku, but it went... After Isuku grabbed it, it went down to the right side of the pattern and just went through the thing for a little bit, and then Isuku just stopped it. And when Zelda hit the patterns with the last bolt, it activated and he saw the cables going through. But Isuku looked back at the pattern that he grabbed and saw there was another track leading away from it towards the corner of this little room that had the pattern. It's kind of weird, but I had a feeling. Isuku, swings it back up to the top of the Triforce, up to Power's top, and just swings it forward towards the corner of Wisdom, and just plowed it through with this and hit. And when it did that, it stopped at a point where it was locked. Zelda was surprised that Isuku did this, but Isuku walked over to the line that went to this and pulled his chain, that had the grapple hand. And when he pulled, the thing went with him. And when it did that, a wall that was a kind of doorway fell down from the wall. And Isuku saw this and said, "Found a secret room. You are too smart sometimes. And I can also look." Zelda just smiled and walked over to Isuku, just kissing his cheek with that. "And you can be a little dense sometime." "But I wasn't dense. Isuku, it took you 2 years to confess down in the depths." Well, 1.5 years. Yeah, okay. Zelda just smiled and walked into the secret room with Izuku following. After walking in, they saw, well, it was a kind of stone room with just dust all over it, with 2 chests at the bottom. Walking over to it, Izuku opens one of them with Zelda doing with the other as well. Izuku pulled out a rare material that is, actually was lost. No, scratch that. After Izuku opened the chest, he saw a second part of the painting. And when Zelda opened her chest, she saw some gloves that was in there. Huh? Gloves? Yeah, you got gloves. I got the half of the painting. Izuku saw the painting that was there, and it had a kind of skinny man with white hair that he couldn't see the eyes of. But he was sitting on a chair with a frown on his face that looks... he wasn't happy being there. After this, that happened, Zelda looked at the glove's description, and it said, "Powerful gloves that will boost your strength. Powered by quirk, long gone." Huh. Zelda put them on and said, "It's female gloves." Well, that's unexpected. Can I see them? Zelda nodded and took them off and handed it over to Izuku. Just to kind of see how, small they are, he puts them on and said, "Wait, it matches my... oh, it's size changing. Quirk? Maybe? Here, you need them more. I don't actually need them." "What, because you're more stronger?" "So I've lifted metal boxes. Yes." "That's with your robot hand." "And you made it?" "Yeah, okay." Zelda and Izuku walked out of the room and saw that the lines was going out to the hallway. They went to the hallway after completing the room and looks down to see the electricity actually going through the floor. 3 of them going through the floor and 2 of them going up to the 2, things I described beforehand on top. It actually was powering them on quickly, actually. But when they walked past the first one, they walked past it, and when they was almost at the middle, they heard a crack and turned around to see this chandelier, I think it's called in English, just break off from the top of the ceiling and just landed on the ground, cracking the floor. Both of them were shocked and walked away a little. "We didn't do that." "Nope. That was there when that happened." "Yes, definitely." "Okay, we can agree on that. Now let's walk forward." They walked over to the room that was there and walked inside to see the 5 lights, turned on, and the door, open. They walked through it and into a little room with pots that Izuku just, before Zelda could talk, crash, 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 crash. Just the 6 pots that was in there, just destroyed, that had the logos of the power, wisdom, and courage on it, that Izuku just and found 2 green rubies, 3 5s, and 1 red ruby. Izuku, I can't help it. Zelda shook her head and just walked forward towards the room. Sorry about that, it happened again. After Zelda shook her head, she walked over to the wooden door that was there and opened it up, with seeing these are Hylian items. She walked inside with Izuku as well, seeing some, replicas of things. They saw a replica of a, picture of, Queen Zelda that she Zelda recognized, but Izuku didn't. That is from... It was told that she was the one that sent, a hero from the past to the future. Or something else. The texts are not clear. Izuku nodded at this and walked with Zelda, seeing more replicas of weapons and everything else. But the one thing that both of them know that was real was a blue crystal that shined with power. This is very old Sheikah technology. This isn't supposed to be existing anymore. You're right about that. But how? Even the Yiga clan agrees this was too much. If they agree, how is this? How? By the way, it's the crystals from Skyward Swords that turn back time. That's how it looks. It was shining with power that was in the middle. And Izuku said, well, if it's needed to be gone... No. This one is the only one left. If I'm correct, this is the one that keeps the mansion what it looks like from the inside. Well then, Izuku walked over to them with the Master Sword and breaks the glass that was protecting it and just hit it and just shutting it off. Zelda was scared that he did this, but he said, I studied this as well, Zelda, when you was reading it, and I know you can hit it and it won't be destroyed. After it hit, the bubble just broke and just formed it out. And when they turned around to look at the room, it was damaged. And I mean fucking damaged. The crystal was the only thing that was fine in the room, but everything else was destroyed or gone. The picture and the items that was there, the picture was just destroyed as hell. There was no colors or anything else. The frame was just broken at this point. And when they walked out and, Zelda put the crystals inside, by the way. They walked out of the room and saw the floor was just broken in several places. With the roof actually had some was just leaning down to the ground with the cables that was supposed to be there just destroyed. The other one in the corner that was there was just on the floor, just completely destroyed. When they walked back towards the hallway leading down to the hallway down to the first floor, they saw that the chandelier that was there at the front of the door to the room, it had just crushed down to the first floor, so they couldn't actually access the room that was in, that room they came from to do the cable thing. After checking everything else out, they fought some of the bokoblin skeletons that spawned in the hallway leading to the first floor. They destroyed it, their heads and everything else. Walking down to the first floor, they walk down the hallway where they see the chandelier just broke the door down to the room they couldn't access. And when they walked in, they saw 10 skeleton bokoblin, and they just started to attack them, by the way. After that, there was only one chest in this room, and some few pots that Izuku destroyed in the fighting as well, and got some few more emeralds. After picking opening the chest, they saw the last painting of, this circle painting that wasn't actually decayed or anything else. It was a picture of two men with white hair. One of them has his eyes covered in shadow. One of them has his eyes covered in hair. But the tall guy with a black suit and white suit with red tie had an evil looking smile on his face with the other guy. They didn't know who these two were, but they seemed important. After Izuku put the painting away with the parts, they walked down the corridor towards where they saw that the door they couldn't open beforehand was completely just metal out and destroyed, so they could walk into a staircase going in a circle down. After both nodding, they walked down to the ground and walked into a dark room with some few fluorescent plants in there. There was cobwebs, plant matter everywhere. They walked down the hallway, fought some few more bokoblin skeletons, walked down the second hallway and fought that one. But when they walked into the first room on the map in the basement, the door closed behind them and a kind of skeleton warrior stood in front of them with two blades in one of its hands. Sorry, give me a moment. Sorry about that. I just have to think about it. Scratched apart with a skeleton man. When they walk into the room, the door closes behind them and they just see this room that was lit up with a little darkness coming 2 claws down and hitting the ground near them. Izuku jumped back with Zelda behind him that drawed her arrows. And they see 2 kind of scorpion arms. Scorpion arms that looks like, scorpions. When they saw this, Izuku couldn't see anything else in the room. The scorpion arm that was on the right side that went to the next room, by the way, went to lunge after Izuku, but when it attacked, he blocks it, with Izuku slashing at it a few times, with the left side going back, with the right side just sweeping the ground with the right claw. When he did that, Izuku jumped over it and rushed towards the thing's arm and started to cut in it. When that happened, Izuku just did the same thing, dodging the claws and just hitting them. There was no more purpose, but Zelda just also shot it with her arrows. After that happened, Izuku jumped away from the last time and hits the two claws at the same time, making them shake a little and just retract, and just both of them just hitting to the middle and just hitting the door away from to the next room. Izuku and Zelda immediately rushed into the room to see a human-looking monster with two beaks on both sides, with two eyes in the normal place, but two beak-like mouths on the sides where the cheeks are supposed to be, where just our skin, where the mouth was supposed to be, with a human brain inside of it, and holding the two claws by the side, with normal human legs that looks like brownish red sort of thing, with no scorpion tails. It was just having scorpion arms that Izuku and Scylla fought beforehand. That is so fucking disturbing. I know. The monster, when seeing them, just slammed the claws towards Izuku and Zelda. Izuku went to the right, Zelda went to the left. That is from the door into the second room. Izuku went to the right, Zelda went to the left. Izuku struck at the claws, cutting him into it, but saw that it was healed up a little afterwards. Zelda shot at the monster towards the head, confusing it a little, with Izuku rushing towards the middle and just cutting into it with 5 slashes. But when he did that, the monster, pulled his claws back and just started to hug Izuku, but started to crush him as hard as it could. Zelda, seeing this, went to the side again and just hits the monster with her bow and arrow. Seeing this, Izuku jumped away and switched his grapple arm. Put his master sword into his sheath on the back, holding his shield as well. But this time pulling out the wrecking ball arm again, and just starting to fling it, punch forward with it, hitting the monster in the chest area. The monster screeched when Izuku sees the flesh that looks like flesh was cracking like armor. Zelda, shoot in the middle when I say so. Got it? She jumped away from the monster and shot it an arrow into the mouth, stunning it with its claws trying to pull the thing out. With Izuku went to the left and flung his wrecking ball arm. He flung it like he was doing an uppercut from afar away, but the wrecking ball just flew up into the stomach of the monster, cracking it more. After he pulled back, the monster went into a panic and just swung around, trying to hit Zelda or Izuku. But as much as it could, Zelda, using an arrow, shot both of its knees, that was unprotected at this point. When it went down to the ground, Izuku just do another punch towards the monster's stomach, hitting it and cracking it more. With Zelda seeing this and Izuku saying now, Zelda just shot as many shots as she can into the beast's stomach. After that, the beast staggered back and went down on its knees again, with Izuku rushing forward and just making the wrecking ball fly up from the top and just slamming into the head, hitting the brain matter and just hitting into the ground, just killing the monster and just making it poof into smoke. When Izuku saw this, he was breathed a little at this and walked over to, well, the monster where it was, but there was nothing, no chest, no nothing. Izuku looked confused when Zelda points over at the right side of the room, where he saw a painting, well, a shadow where a painting should be. He pulled out the painting he had and placed it on it, and a hallway was shown to them that was lit up by some, well, torches lights that still had power. Walking down the hallway and turning to the right, they walked a little bit more when they spotted dried up blood on the floor, on the walls, both walls, and a little bit on the ceiling. Just blood. Izuku was shocked but still walked forward down the hallway and into a room that was there. After opening it, he saw a few comic books that was kind of distorted and anything else. But he saw a chest that he walked over and opened it, spotting a book that was reading name of All for One's brother, name that, and diary. It was not named One for All's brother, it was named the name of the brother and then diary. After this, Izuku and Zelda walked out of the room and up to the first floor and walked into the main hall where they walked out of the mansion and looked back. Looking at the book and the things they have gotten, they see, well, a car pulling up with Aizawa All Might in one of them with, well, Izuku's dad and Abosa walking up to them with an angry look. What were you two thinking? Izuku's dad went off when Izuku stopped him. Dad, we weren't exploring it for fun. Then why the hell were you exploring this abandoned mansion that no one could come into? Well, there was literally a hidden key in the pot. Oh my god. That's how you got in. Yes, and Izuku pointed at the symbol on the top of, well, the little patio that leads towards the door. That's the Triforce, marked by the powers. On the top, isn't that the power of the Triforce? It is. Abosa seemed mad at this, but calmed herself a little. What did you discover? We found some more clues. Zelda pulled out the crystal that was in there and told them, we found this. That item should not exist. Izuku's dad immediately saw the thing and said it immediately. I know, but it kept the mansion normal in the beginning, but it turned rotten when it was turned off, destroyed. We also found a painting of two men. A man in a black business suit with white shirt, red tie. His eyes were shadowed with white hair. Couldn't see his eyes in the painting. Maybe a design choice or something? Izuku just described the building to all of them, and All Might looked shocked at this. is one of his bases. You know him? You know the man? I will explain this when we go back, but did you find anything else? We found some gloves that can change to which size user it has, that can boost someone's strength. But we also found a diary of a man that was probably trapped in a room, probably the weak looking one. We found it in the painting. Isuko handed over the diary to All Might that he looked at it. I should probably tell you who the man that owned this house is. And that is where we're gonna end this story. Hope you liked my first ever attempt at a Zelda dungeon explaining. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Vote in the post I made so I can know what videos you guys want me to make. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye-bye. Like and subscribe, by the way, and leave a comment. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the comments.